Jai Hare Krishna, and we are back with Beyond Birth and Death by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, page number 22. Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti Vishanti Yad Yatayo Vitaraga Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti Tate Padam Sangrahena Pravakshye Sarvadvarani Samyaya Manohridi Nirudyacha Murdanyadhayat Manah Pranam Asthito Yogadharanam. Quote, persons learned in the Vedas who utter Omkara and who are great sages in the renounced order enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga. Bhagavad Gita 8.11 and 12. In the yoga system, this process is called pratyahara, which means just the opposite. Although during life, the eyes are engaged in seeing worldly beauty, at death one has to retract the senses from their objects and see the beauty within. Similarly, the ears are accustomed to hearing so many sounds in the world, but at the moment of death one has to hear the transcendental Omkara from within. Om ityekaksharam Brahma vyaharan mamanusmaran yah prayati tyajan deham sayati paramam gatim. Quote, after being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. Unquote, Bhagavad Gita 8.13. So by thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this way, all the senses have to be stopped in their external activities and concentrated on the form of Vishnu Murti, the form of God. The mind is very turbulent, but it has to be fixed on the Lord in the heart. When the mind is fixed within the heart and the life airs is transferred to the top of the head, one can attain perfection in yoga. At this point, the yogi determines where he is to go. In the material universe, there are innumerable planets, and beyond this universe, there is spiritual universe. The yogis have information of these places from Vedic literatures. Just as one going to America can get some idea what the country is like by reading books, one can also have knowledge of the spiritual planets by reading Vedic literatures. The yogi knows all these descriptions, and he can transfer himself to any planet he likes without the help of spaceships. Space travel by mechanical means is not the accepted process for elevation to other planets. Perhaps with a great deal of time, effort, and money, a few men may be able to reach other planets by material means, spaceships, space suits, etc. But this is a very cumbersome and impractical method. In any case, it is not possible to go beyond the material universe by mechanical means. The generally accepted method for transferal to higher planets is the practice of the meditational yoga system or jnana system. The Bhakti Yoga system, however, is not to be practiced for transferal to any material planet. For those who are servants of Krishna, the Supreme Lord, are not interested in any planets in this material world, because they know that on whatever planet one enters in the material sky, the four principles of birth, old age, disease, and death are present. On higher planets, the duration of life may be longer than on this earth, but death is there nonetheless. By material universe, we refer to those planets where birth, old age, disease, and death reside. And by spiritual universe, we refer to those planets where there is no birth, old age, disease, and death. Those who are intelligent do not try to elevate themselves to any planet within this material universe. If one tries to enter higher planets by mechanical means, instant death is assured, for the body cannot stand the radical changes in atmosphere. But if one attempts to go to higher planets by means of the yoga system, he will acquire a suitable body for entrance. We can see this demonstrated on this earth, for we know it is not possible for us to live in the sea, in a watery atmosphere, nor is it possible for aquatics to live on the earth. As we understand that even on this planet one has to have a particular type of body to live in a particular place, so a particular type of body is required for other planets. On the higher planets, bodies live much longer than on Earth, for 6 months on Earth is equal to 1 day on the higher planets. Thus, the Vedas describe that those who live on higher planets live upward to 10,000 years of Earth, like earthly years, it's like 10,000. Yet despite such a long lifespan, death awaits everyone. Even if one lives 20,000 or 50,000 or even millions of years, in the material world the years are all counted and death is there. How can we escape this subjugation to death? That is the lesson of Bhagavad Gita 2.20. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah ajo nitya shashvato yam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. For the soul there is never birth nor death. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existent, undying, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. We are spirit soul, and as such we are eternal. Why then should we subject ourselves to birth and death? One who asks this question is to be considered intelligent. Those who are Krishna conscious are very intelligent, because they're not interested in gaining entrance to any planet where there is death. They will reject a long duration of life in order to attain a body like unto God's. Ishvara Paramah Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha. Sat means eternal, Chit means full of knowledge, and Ananda means full of pleasure. Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure. If we transfer ourselves from this body into the spiritual world, either to Krishna Loka, Krishna's planet, or any other spiritual planet, we will receive a similar Sat-Chit Ananda body. Thus, the aim of those who are in Krishna consciousness is different from those who are trying to promote themselves to higher planets within this material world. The self or soul of the individual is a minute spiritual spark. The perfection of yoga lies in the transfer of this spiritual spark to the top of the head. Having attained this, the yogi can transfer himself to any planet in the material world, according to his desire. If the yogi is curious to know what the moon is like, he can transfer himself there, or if he is interested in higher planets, he can transfer himself there, just as travelers go to New York, Canada, or other cities on the earth. Wherever one goes on earth, he finds the same visa and custom systems operating, and on all the material planets one can similarly see the principles of birth, old age, disease, and death operating. Om Mityaksharam Brahma. At the point of death, the yogi can pronounce Om. Omkara, the concise form of transcendental sound vibration. If the yogi can vibrate this sound and at the same time Mam Anusmaran, remember Krishna or Vishnu, he attains the highest goal. It is the process of yoga to concentrate the mind on Vishnu. The impersonalists imagine some form of the Supreme Lord, but the personalists do not imagine this, they actually see. Whether one imagines him or actually sees him, one has to concentrate his mind on the personal form of Krishna. Ananyacheta satatam yomam smarati nityasha tasyaham sulabhah partha nitya yuktasya yogina. For one who remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. Bhagavad Gita 8.14. Those who are satisfied with temporary life, temporary pleasure, and temporary facilities are not to be considered intelligent, at least not according to Bhagavad Gita. One whose brain substance is very small is interested in temporary things according to the Gita. We are eternal, so why should we be interested in temporary things? No one wants a non-permanent situation. If we are living in an apartment and the landlord asks us to vacate, we are sorry. But we are not sorry if we move into a better apartment. It is our nature, because we are permanent, to want permanent residence. We don't wish to die because, in actuality, we are permanent. Nor do we want to grow old or be diseased, because we are all because these are all external or non-permanent states. Although we are not meant to suffer from fever, sometimes fever comes, and we have to take precautions and remedies to get well again. The fourfold miseries are like a fever, and they are all due to the material body. If somehow we can get out of this material body, we can escape the miseries that are integral with it. For the impersonalists to get out of this temporary body, Krishna here advises that they vibrate the syllable Om. In this way they can be assured of transmigration into the spiritual world. However, although they may enter the spiritual world, they cannot enter into any planets over there. They remain outside in the Brahma Jyoti. The Brahma Jyoti may be likened unto the sunshine, and the spiritual planets may be likened unto the sun itself. In the spiritual sky, the impersonalists remain in the effulgence of the Supreme Lord, the Brahma Jyoti. The impersonalists are placed in the Brahma Jyoti as spiritual sparks, And in this way, the Brahma Jyoti is filled with spiritual sparks. This is what is meant by merging into the spiritual existence. It should not be considered that one merges into the Brahma Jyoti in the sense of becoming one with it. Jai, so we're going to stop here for today, and tomorrow we shall find out where exactly do devotees of the Supreme Lord go, because they do not neglect serving the Supreme Lord in love and devotion. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and the link to this book is in the description. So we shall see you next time. Hare Krishna.